Once upon a time in midwinter, when the snowflakes were falling like feathers from heaven, a queen sat sewing at her window. As she sewed, she pricked her finger with her needle. 3 drops of blood fell into the snow. The red on the white looked so beautiful that she thought to herself,
If only I had a child as white as snow, as red as blood, and as black as this wood.
The queen soon had a daughter who was as white as snow, as red as blood, and as black as ebony wood, and therefore they called her Snow White. But the queen died upon the child's birth. A year later, the king remarried a beautiful, proud, and arrogant woman who owned a magic mirror and could not tolerate anyone being more beautiful than her. Each morning, she asked her mirror,
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who in this land is fairest of all? You, my queen, are fairest of all.
This truthful answer always satisfied her.
Ooh, butterflies! Come here! I love chasing
Snow White grew ever more beautiful, surpassing the queen by age 7. One day, when the queen asked her magic mirror,
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who in this land is fairest of all? You, my queen, are fair, it is true, but Snow White is 1,000 times fairer than you.
the queen was filled with terror, green with envy, and her hatred and pride consumed her peace day and night. Then she summoned a huntsman.
Take Snow White into the woods, kill her, and bring me her lungs and liver as proof.
Where are we going, Huntsman? Oh, dear Huntsman, let me live. I will run into the wild woods and never come back.
I cannot harm you. You have a good heart.
Run away, you poor child!
The huntsman spared Snow White. Instead, he killed a young boar, taking its lungs and liver to the queen as false proof of Snow White's death, which the queen consumed. Alone and frightened, Snow White fled through the forest. Despite the dangers, she remained unharmed and eventually found a tiny, meticulously clean house at dusk. Inside, she found a table set with 7 small servings and 7 little beds. Hungry and thirsty, she ate a little from each plate and drank a drop from each mug.
This one's too long. This one's too short. This one's just right. Thank you, whoever
Tired,
lives here.
she tried the beds until the 7th one was just right and fell asleep. The masters of the house, 7 dwarfs who mined in the mountains, returned after dark. They noticed signs that someone had been there.
The chairs! Who's been mucking with them? And the food, half gone. What in the blazes? Who's been sitting in my chair? My bread's been nibbled. Achoo! My fork's been moved. And my mug's been drunk from.
The 7 dwarfs found Snow White asleep and were amazed by her beauty. They shone their candles on her, exclaiming, "Oh, good heaven, this child is so beautiful!" Happy, they let her sleep. The 7th dwarf shared sleeping hours with the others. Snow White woke the next morning, initially frightened of the dwarves, but they were kind and asked,
Now, don't be frightened. What's your name, child?
"My name is Snow White," she answered. "How did you find your way to our house?" the dwarves asked further.
My stepmother, she tried to have me killed. The huntsman spared me. I ran all day.
If you keep house for us, cook, clean, sew, you can stay.
Yes, with all my heart.
She kept house for the dwarfs. Every morning they sought ore and gold in the mountains, returning in the evening to a ready meal.
Be careful, child. Your stepmother will know you're here. Do not let anyone in.
Tormented by guilt, the huntsman eventually confessed to the king about the queen's command to murder Snow White. The king, filled with disbelief and fury, confronted the queen. However, she responded with dark magic, killing the king and seizing control of the kingdom. Believing she had eaten Snow White's lungs and liver, the queen assumed she was again the most beautiful woman. She approached her mirror and asked,
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who in this land is fairest of all? You, my queen, are fair, it is true, but Snow White beyond the mountains with the 7 dwarfs is still 1,000 times fairer. I have been deceived. She still lives!
She devised a plan. Disguising herself as an old peddler woman, she went to the dwarf's house, knocked, and called out,
Beautiful wares for sale! For sale!
Good day, dear woman. What do you have?
Bodice laces, all colors. This one's braided from silk.
She offered a colorful silk bodice lace. Snow White, thinking the woman was honest, unbolted the door and bought it.
Let me lace you properly.
The unsuspecting Snow White let the old woman tightly lace her, causing her to stop breathing. The 7 dwarfs returned to find Snow White lifeless. They cut the tight lace and she slowly revived. The dwarves realized the peddler was the wicked queen and warned Snow White not to open the door to anyone while they were gone. When the wicked woman returned home, she went to her mirror and asked,
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who in this land is fairest of all? You, my queen, are fair, it is true, but Snow White beyond the mountains with the 7 dwarfs is still 1,000 times fairer.
Hearing this, her blood rushed to her heart, knowing Snow White was alive. This time, she vowed, I'll devise your destruction. Using witchcraft, she made a poisoned comb, then disguised herself as a different old woman. She traveled across the 7 mountains to the 7 dwarfs.
Combs for sale.
Go away. I can't let anyone in.
The old woman showed Snow White a poisoned comb, which the girl liked so much she opened the door.
Let me comb your hair properly.
As soon as the comb touched Snow White's hair, the poison took effect and she fell unconscious.
You specimen of beauty, now you are finished!
Fortunately, the 7 dwarfs returned that evening, found Snow White seemingly dead, and immediately suspected her stepmother. They examined her, found the poisoned comb, and upon pulling it out, Snow White revived and explained what happened.
Never again open the door for strangers. Promise us.
I promise.
We will protect you.
Back home, the queen approached her mirror and said,
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who in this land is fairest of all? You, my queen, are fair, it is true, but Snow White beyond the mountains with the 7 dwarfs is still 1,000 times fairer. She still lives!
When the queen heard the mirror saying this, she shook and trembled with anger. Snow White shall die, she shouted, if it costs me my life. In her private room, she created a beautiful white and red poisoned apple. Disguised as a peasant, she traveled across the 7 mountains to the dwarf's home again.
Apples! Fresh apples! Sweet apples! I am not allowed to let anyone in, and I cannot accept anything.
The apple was cleverly poisoned only on the red half. Snow White, craving the beautiful fruit and seeing the peasant woman eat the unpoisoned part, finally took the poisoned half. As soon as she bit into it, she dropped dead.
White as snow, red as blood, black as ebony. This time they cannot awaken you.
The dwarves returned that evening to find Snow White dead, not breathing. They tried everything, loosening her clothes, combing her hair, washing her with water and wine. but she remained dead. They mourned for 3 days. Back at home, she asked her mirror.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who in this land is fairest of all? You, my queen, are fairest of all. Snow White is dead! I am the fairest of them all!
They were going to bury her, but she still looked as fresh as a living person and still had her beautiful red cheeks. So they made a transparent glass coffin inscribed with her name and title, laid her inside, and set it on a mountain. One dwarf always kept watch. Animals, including an owl, raven, and dove, also came to mourn. Snow White lay there in the coffin for a long, long time, and she did not decay, but looked like she was asleep, for she was still as white as snow, and as red as blood, and as black-haired as ebony wood. One day, a prince entered the woods, saw the shining coffin on the mountain, and approached, seeing the beautiful Snow White inside. He then spoke to the dwarfs.
Let me have the coffin. I'll give you anything for her. Please, I implore you, name your price.
We will not sell it even for all the gold in the world.
Then give it to me. I cannot live without seeing her. I will honor her and respect her as my most cherished one.
Pitying him, the good dwarfs gave the prince the coffin, which his servants carried away. When one servant stumbled on a root, the piece of poisoned apple dislodged from Snow White's throat. Soon after, she opened her eyes, lifted the lid, sat up, and was alive again. "You are with me," the joyful prince declared, explaining everything and adding, "I love you above all else. Marry me and come to my father's castle." Snow White, loving him in return, agreed. Their magnificent wedding was planned. Snow White's godless stepmother was also invited to the feast. After putting on her beautiful clothes, she stepped before her mirror and said,
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who in this land is fairest of all? You, my queen, are fair, it is true, but the young queen is 1,000 times fairer than you.
When she heard this, she started with rage, but her envy and curiosity were so great that she could not help setting out to see the bride. And when she got there and saw that it was no other than Snow White, who, as she thought, had been dead a long while, she choked with rage and fell down and died.
This is the most magical day, my prince.
With you, every day is magic, my love.
Snow White took her rightful throne and reigned happily over that land. And sometimes they went up into the mountains and paid a visit to the little dwarfs who had been so kind to Snow White in her time of need. And they lived happily ever after.